even if the barista wanted the Bitcoin. I mean, it doesn't work. But you can do it with gold. That's the key. I could take gold and I can have it stored with a reputable third party who can then tokenize it, not the gold, but the ownership of the gold, and break it down to fractions of a gram so that I can have it, on my smartphone, and I can go into a coffee shop and I can actually buy some coffee with my gold, and I can transfer ownership of that gold to the coffee shop instantly, quicker than I can transfer Bitcoin, for less money than I can transfer Bitcoin. But the big difference is when I'm transferring my gold, I'm actually transferring something. When I'm transferring Bitcoin, I'm transferring nothing. So, gold will actually work. Gold is going to work in the future better as money than it worked in the past. And it worked great in the past, but it's going to be work even better in the future, because instead of having paper currency backed by gold, we can have cryptocurrency backed by gold and get all the advantages of crypto with none of the downside, and all of the advantages of gold, but with even more functionality.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we're thinking about functionality, let's say of buying a coffee, does silver work better than gold in that case, or is it just that layer of
not anymore? I mean, okay. It worked better in a physical sense, and in fact, maybe copper even worked better. I mean, because when it started, you probably could buy a coffee for a few pennies, a cup of coffee, right? And some people use copper, or maybe they used nickel, right? But I guess when a cup of coffee became 10 cents, then it was a dime, because a dime was made of silver. But the reason that we used silver instead of gold was for smaller transactions, because silver was a less valuable metal. And so since there was so much gold so much value in gold, if you were to try to mint a coin that was like 1/100th of an ounce, so you can buy something small, I mean, it would, you could lose it. It'd be too small to deal with. So you dealt with silver, and then even when silver became too valuable, you had to have nickel and copper. Right, because can you imagine how small a silver coin would be if there was a penny's worth of it in there? I mean, again, but with blockchain, none of that matters anymore. If I'm not going to be holding the physical coins, if I'm just going to be, using the digital ownership, then it's just as easy for me to send you 1/100th of an ounce of gold as to send you an entire ounce. And I don't need to worry about the coin, because there are no coins. The coins aren't being minted. There's just a big bar of gold in a vault somewhere, and we're all trading the tokens. The whole reason that they took gold and made coins out of it was so we could exchange them with each other in commerce. So if I wanted to buy something from you, I handed you some of my gold, and you handed me whatever it was you were selling. But I don't have to hand you the actual gold. I can just transfer my ownership to you. That's what they did with paper money. They said, hey, instead of carrying around your gold, just take these pieces of paper, because the gold is in a vault and the paper is just a representation of the gold that you own. Well, it's even easier if we can transact in a digital representation of that gold ownership.
Peter, despite all of the, let's say, the pitfalls of cryptos as you see them, do you think that they've been valuable to help educate a whole new generation of people about sound money and the let's say, the devaluation of fiat currencies? And how do we educate this new generation about the value of metals as well?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, because, they understand the problems of fiat currency, but not completely. Otherwise, they wouldn't like Bitcoin either. So they've kind of been led astray. They've been told half-truths. And so they have to kind of, unlearn some of that and keep just the good part, which is, yes, fiat currencies are bad, central banks, all that, but then recognize the real alternative, the real hard money is gold, because these guys have been told that gold's worthless, gold's nothing, gold's a dinosaur, so they have to unlearn all that negative, propaganda, really, anti-gold, because that's how they were, building a case for Bitcoin. And I've been afraid since the beginning, though, that this was going to backfire, that a lot of the people who, were worried about inflation and government and central banks were going to end up losing even more than the people who weren't, because they would have, jumped from the frying pan into the fire by going to Bitcoin. And then the government is going to end up using this example of people getting wiped out in Bitcoin as, hey, see, the free market doesn't work. The free market came up with Bitcoin. It was a whole scam and you lost all your money. You need to trust government. See, our money is much better than the free market money. So I think it's going to end up doing harm, damaging the case for sound money. And government's going to exploit it to try to increase its power. But some people, yes. I mean, some of the people maybe will make the jump intellectually. Okay, yes, we still don't like fiat money. We still don't like central banks. We screwed up with Bitcoin, but now we understand that we should have just gone to gold all along. That's what we should have been advocating. And maybe with the crypto angle and the blockchain, maybe that'll be a happy medium where, they can look at, okay, yes, I can have my gold, but I don't have to lug it around. I can still have it in a wallet, with my own password, my own private key, and I can, they may realize that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Peter, I really appreciate your time today. I know we're coming up against the end of time. There's a million other things I'd love to talk to you about, like your taxation without representation, the reason you live in Puerto Rico, but maybe we can get to that another time.
Yeah, and if your listeners want some more, just tune into my podcast. I'm doing them, usually 2 a week, sometimes 1, sometimes 3. Depends on how much time I have really to do it. But on schiffradio.com or on my YouTube channel, I'm talking about stuff all the time. So I would encourage people to listen. Follow me on social media. My Twitter, I'm almost at 900,000 Twitter followers. So, but I got to get up to 1 million. So hopefully I'll be up there sometime in early 2023. But I do a lot of tweeting, and so that's one place to follow me. But I'm also on, Instagram and Facebook, so not as much, Even TikTok, you can find some stuff I have there. So I'm trying to make an impact using social media to get out there and to reach people, particularly younger people. But if you're an older person and you've got savings, you've got an investment portfolio, definitely try to reach out to my company, Euro Pacific Asset Management, before it's too late. I mean, let us get in there and, redo your portfolio, get it out of a lot of these bubble assets that may have worked when the bubble was inflating, but are not going to work now that the air is coming out, and get into a much better portfolio for the new reality. And believe me, it's going to get a lot more real over the next few years. And most investors are just going to be totally blindsided by the events that are going to play out.